Hi guys, it's Dale with the insurance. Today we're going to talk about an article that even I overlook quite often, and it's pretty dangerous. So hopefully it's valuable for you guys because it surely is valuable for me. The title of the article is "How Does a Car Recall Affect Your Car Insurance?" Right? So recalls are quite normal nowadays, whether it's recalling food, recalling toys, and then obviously recalling vehicles. And if you are anything like me, then you never really pay attention to recalls, and the only time you really hear about them is when you go to your dealership. And then the only time you really go to your dealership is when you have your routine maintenance or something is going wrong with the car, which isn't a good thing. That being said, even for those people that don't go to a dealership, there is a way for you to find out if the vehicle you are driving or the vehicle that you own has any recalls within its history. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, manages recalls within the U.S. and they keep a database that kind of shows and houses all the recalls on all the vehicles sold within the U.S. Things to take note is that a manufacturer is obligated to fix the recall at no charge for vehicles that are up to 15 years old. That doesn't mean that you still, if you have a vehicle that's older than 15 years, that doesn't mean you shouldn't, you should still pay attention to what's being recalled. It just means you may have to come out of pocket to actually address it, right? And this kind of lack of urgency with following recalls is quite dangerous, right? Because by definition, a recall is there to signal to consumers that, hey, something's not functioning properly, right? And within a vehicle, that could be very dangerous, right? And data shows that within our society, within the US, only about 75% of the vehicles that have been recalled have been fixed or addressed, right? That number should be 100%, right? At least in the 90s. So that is not a good thing at all. But as far as insurance rates, a recall, at least directly, will not impact your insurance rates. It can only impact insurance rates indirectly, right? So cars have different safety ratings, right? So if there's a recall that impacts a car's safety rating, right? So there's a defect within that vehicle for some reason, it doesn't react to a crash or a brake or something that makes it perform on that safety rating test a bit poorly, and it results in a higher safety rating. Now that higher safety rating will signal to carriers that, hey, they need to charge a higher rate for that particular vehicle. So that's kind of an indirect way that that recalls can impact your insurance rates, but they can't directly, right? And to be honest, that's kind of an afterthought because recalls can be so dangerous, but either way, that directly, no, they cannot impact your insurance rates. That being said, something to take note of is that if you find out that there's a recall on your vehicle, you don't address it, subsequently you get into an accident, and it's found that that accident was partially caused by this recall, then your claim could be denied because of negligence, right? You knew the recall, you chose not to address it, and it ended up in an accident, right? So that's also one thing to kind of take note of. Like I said in the beginning, I'm at fault of this. I think collectively, as drivers and owners of vehicles, collectively, although recalls don't impact our insurance rate, collectively, we should definitely try to get that 25% number of vehicles that have been recalled that are not addressed in our market in the US lower, much lower, hopefully in the single digits, by actively going to the NHTSA database to see if our vehicles have any recalls on them. At the very least, it would make a more safe environment for everyone that's driving out there. Thanks for stopping by, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I'll talk to you next week.